Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Usually you're the one who's got the trigger finger, but tonight it's me. We need to pull you out of your slump here.
Oh, that's nice.
Mine's not so much pulling me out of a slump as it is just, I feel like my body almost needs it at this point after this weekend. But
yeah,
had a hell of a Christmas party on Friday night. But
oh yeah, you're trying to sustain.
Pretty
past
much
recovery mode. You're just
I Saturday didn't do anything. I was pretty much dead the entire day. But no, this is going to get me back on track, though. Nice. Sustainability is what we're going for.
That's what I thought. Okay, well, right off the hop, I wanted to address this because I actually got a ton of feedback on your fictional dogs question.
Okay.
I kept saying it the whole time. I was like, I know we're missing them. Now, that said, I'm not going to list off all these dogs, but there were many, many that were mentioned to me that I just didn't think they deserved to be a part of the best fictional dog conversation.
Yeah.
While they are fictional dogs, not necessarily the best ones. That said, I do think there was 3 that I wanted to call out specifically.
Is one of them the one I sent you the next day?
I forget what you sent me.
The I Am Legend dog?
No, but
loyal.
That's a good choice.
It's Will Smith, What else can you say? But continue.
No, so one that I thought of after the fact, and I think honestly would probably be in my top 3, is Max from The Grinch.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a great combo of like comic relief, sentimental,
Yeah, and he points out when the Grinch is doing bad. Like he's hesitant to like follow him.
He grounds the Grinch, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's kind of the soul of the movie in a lot of ways.
I think he triggers the Grinch becoming good.
Pretty much, yeah. So I think possibly
that's a good one.
Possibly a top 3 fictional dog for me. Another one, Baxter from Anchorman.
Oh, my
R.I.P.
God. You know what? It's so funny. I just watched Anchorman 2. Both of them been on Netflix. I watched one a couple months ago. And I just watched 2 last night. Baxter's a good one. Didn't even think about that one.
No doubt. And then finally, we're parents. Bluey and Bluey's family.
Yeah, that was a miss. That was one I thought of too. Yeah. Bandit.
Bandit is all of us. Bandit's you.
Bandit is me. Bluey's just, again, I don't know who, I know some people listen to this have kids, but if you don't, it's just a great show. And Bandit's got so much, I try to have the amount of patience that Bandit has with his kids.
Yeah.
I strive to be Bandit.
Bandit is aspirational.
He is. He's very... Which fun, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but that show was made in Australia for parents.
Yeah.
To teach them how to be better parents. But then the kids ended up liking him. We're like, oh, we might have a kids show in our hand. And so they started making it as a kids show.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. But it does have good life lessons in it. And it does, I learned lessons about it being a better parent. So it's got good stuff in it.
Yeah, it's of all the kid shows that I've taken in over the last 5 years, it's the only one that has actually kind of made me tear up on occasion.
Oh yeah, there's some episodes in there. There's some episodes that make you tear up. There's some episodes that make you just die laughing.
Yeah,
because that stuff's happened to you before. That's a big miss by us. I feel like all my kids love Bluey. I can't believe I didn't think of that one.
Yeah, Susie gave me that one. So again, shout out to her. But yeah, I think like I said, we got a ton that got written in, but those are the 3 I wanted to bring to the forefront.
Good. So. Yeah. Just so you know, I brought up the I Am Legend one because my brother calls his dog, he's like, that's my I Am Legend dog. He was by my side when it was just me and him. So
nice.
But yeah, those are good. I didn't even think about Bluey, so shout out to Susie for that one.
Shout out. And while we're giving out shout outs, and ask, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Continue to help us grow the podcast. And then, of course, follow us on social media at Back9Sixpack, pretty much on every channel out there, except for the TikTok because we're old. So
yeah, I can't even per my company's policies, I can't even have TikTok on my phone. So shout out to TikTok for that one.
It's probably best for all of us.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so before we get into some golf stuff, because there's shockingly a lot of golf news kind of in the last week and a half, 2 weeks here, but felt like some important non-golf sports conversations we could have here. One, just overall, and then two that are just very particular to us.
Yeah.
First and foremost, we're both college football fans. I think you more so than me.
Yeah, college football is my college football, college basketball. I love the NFL. I'm indifferent about the NBA, but yeah, college football and basketball are my things, specifically college football.
Yeah. So obviously the college football playoff, the selection committee. What are your thoughts overall?
I think if they had dropped Florida State down to, for their reasoning for not putting them in, if they would have dropped Florida State down to 8, I don't think anybody would have. They would have been upset, but I don't think they would have been as upset as they are. I think the fact that they're like, well, you're not as good as Alabama, but you're somehow better than Georgia. And then their reasoning behind it was, well, what team would you not want to play? Well, if you use that reasoning, they should definitely be behind Georgia. They should probably be behind Ohio State too. If that's the reasoning you're using, and if they go by eye test and they didn't have their quarterback, I mean, really 2 weeks ago, once their quarterback went out, they should have dropped them to 8 and just go, unless we see something crazy out of your backup, you're not getting in.
Right.
But they kept them at 4, and then all of a sudden it was like, I feel for the Florida State guys. I do. It's never happened before. Whether you think they're going to lose by 2 touchdowns, they deserve the right to play for a national championship, and they're not going to get that. So,
yeah, I'm kind of two minds here. Look, I can absolutely understand everything that Florida State's feeling right now and their fans, and honestly, just sports fans in general that are upset about it. But also, I can look at it and say, okay, the College Football Playoff Committee, their job is to try to pick the 4 best teams, not necessarily reward the 4 best seasons, quote unquote. I feel like they picked the 4 best teams. Those were the 4 that I would have selected. Again, I completely understand why Florida State could be there and has every right to be mad that they're not.
I just think of it as, yes. Do I think Alabama's better than Florida State without their starting quarterback? Absolutely. Do I think Georgia's better than them? Absolutely. And we're going to find that out. They play. Do I think Ohio State's better than them? Yeah. Do I think Oregon's better than Florida State with their backup quarterback in? 100%. But my thing is when they win 2 games with their backup quarterback, it's not like he went out in the championship game. You got to see a half of their backup, and you're like, no. Did they look good? But then you start looking at stats, and you're like, well, they had more total yards in their championship game than Michigan had. So you're like, well, and J.J. McCarthy hasn't thrown over 150 yards in his last 4 games. Why isn't that getting, you know what I mean? So the reasons they used, they didn't actually dig in and go, okay, if we give these reasons, is this going to be a valid reason that someone can't debunk? And they didn't do that. And people were like, well, you gave this reason. Well, this team went undefeated and they had a quarterback that threw for less than 200 yards or whatever. So the problem is when they went into it, they didn't come up with valid reasons other than like, well, and then he said, and the guy that running the committee was like, well, we started talking about who you wouldn't want to play. Well, of course, everybody's going to be like, I don't want to play Alabama. They got like 9 national championships in the last 15 years. Of course you're going to say that. They have the most talent. But to me, every sport is when it comes down to, did you win your games or did you not win your games? And if you won more of your games than another team, that would be, it's just like the NFL. Like that would be a team going 16-1, and they're like, well, we know that you went 16-1, but this team is 15-2, but you just lost your starting quarterback, so they're going to be the 1 seed and you're not. That it just wouldn't happen. Right. So and that's what I think. Again, I think we're going to get the most entertaining games out of these. I think. I don't think there's going to be a blowout. I wouldn't think. I don't think the Alabama team's a past. And it was funny. One last thing. So I saw a guy tweet out. It was like, Alabama beat Florida State by 3 touchdowns. You do realize they have not won a game by more than 3 touchdowns this year. And I'm like, oh, so they're finally going to beat a team by 3 touchdowns when they haven't done it all year. So, again, Vegas, everybody's pointing to the Vegas lines. And it's like, well, Oregon lost their championship game and they were 10-point favorites.
Yeah.
So while Vegas is right a lot, they're not always right. So it's disappointing. I feel bad for the Florida State guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one time that this has happened, right? I mean, super unprecedented, and it's the one year, of course, like the year before they expanded the playoffs, right?
And I think that's why they thought they could get away with it.
Probably.
I think if we had this, there was no 12-team playoff after this year, I think they would have never wanted to set that precedent. But they're like, look, there's no precedent after this year. We're going to 12 teams next year. All these teams would have been in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it sucks, but...
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, as a, Michigan fan by marriage now, I don't want them playing Bama.
I mean, you
put Florida State in, bring them back.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you saw the everybody's like, oh, it was the reaction that Florida State getting in. Michigan they did the audible groan because they're like, they were thinking like, we gotta look. They assumed Florida State was going to be a cakewalk. I actually think that game of Florida State's defense is unbelievable. Would Michigan win the game? Yeah, I think they would have, but I don't think it would have been by more than 10 or 13 points. It would have been a defensive battle for sure. But I think their audible groan was like, fuck. Who wouldn't be? And honestly, it's not even the players on the team. It's just because Nick Saban, with a month to prepare, he's the GOAT. I used to not admit that, but he's the GOAT of college football. And you give a man that long to prepare for you, I don't care what kind of offense you have or defensive scheme you have, that's just way too much time. And he's going to win that battle a lot more than he's going to lose it.
Yeah, so, and it's one thing to play Alabama. It's another to play an Alabama team that, has that magic touch like they did against Auburn. You know what I mean? When they're both really freaking good and they seem to just, be pulling everything off too.
Yeah.
They feel like the team that's, got hot at the right time and will make the play that matters. But that's the thing,
though, they got hot for one game.
Yeah.
Leading up to the Georgia game, they were not playing good. They almost lost to an Auburn team that was 500. They needed a fourth and 31 goal, 4th and goal from the 31 to beat them. And their previous couple games, they didn't, I think it was Arkansas, they beat by 3. Arkansas ended up being 3-11 or something, or 3-10 or something like that. They were not playing good up until that. But the way they played in the Georgia game, you're like, ooh, they might have found something.
Right, that's what I mean.
So it'll be interesting. I think with how it's set, we're going to get the best games out of it.
I agree. Yeah. I think so. All right. Well, about 2-3 weeks ago, I asked you how you were feeling about your Packers and Jordan Love and the whole thing. You were ready to fire everybody.
I have some apologies.
I think you might. I think you do. At least 2 off the hand that I can think of.
I mean, first off, Jordan Love. I mean, I owe him an apology. If I'd have closed my eyes and just been listening to the game and hearing about the throws he was making last night, I'd assumed Aaron Rodgers came back from injury and put a Packers jersey on. The guy looked. I mean, you took his jersey off last night and you just saw how he was throwing the ball and he's doing the feet off the ground passes like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. It's who is that? This guy wasn't even here 3 weeks ago. And I'll give credit to Matt LaFleur because it has to do something with coaching. You got to give a guy just doesn't go from what he was in the beginning of the season to what he is now without some decent coaching. So
yeah, I think I saw the stat today. He's 15-0 in December now.
Yeah, which is so he was 15-0. He's 16-0 now.
Okay,
which is just stupid. By the way,
crazy.
I mean, thinking about the games you play in December, they're all must. I mean, a lot of them are must wins, and he's not lost one yet. So, yeah. But yeah, I owe some apologies. It was, that team's back from the dead. They beat arguably 2 of the best teams in the NFL the last 2 weeks. Honestly, I mean, last night, other than like the final drive where you're just like assuming and Kansas City flags started flying out, they weren't like, and then they got up. Then I think Kansas City scored, and they were only down 2, and then they came down and answered right away. And it was like after that, I was like, that game was never in question. Like Kansas City was getting dominated for the most part. And they did the same thing to the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. They dominated the Lions. So it was like, it's not like they're just squeaking by. Like they're coming out and like laying wood to the best teams in the NFL. And now I was invested before, but now I'm like, now we got to get in the playoffs. Like no one wants to see us in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, they stay hot. Who knows? They're the youngest team in the league.
And that's what's fun. Like as a fan, that's legitimately what's fun. Cause last year felt like, oh my God, it's all the same guys making all the same mistakes. This year it's like all new faces, and you're like, you know what, make some mistakes. You know, watching Christian Watson do what he did last night, what I think everybody expected when they drafted him. You know, Jaden Reed, who's just like come out of nowhere, just unbelievable talent, super fast. Romeo Dobbs, who's been there for a couple years now. Like these guys are fun to watch. It's fun to watch young guys get a chance. And you know, not spoken of, well, he is a lot. Simone Biles' husband, out of nowhere, is now starting, and he's pretty good. So it's fun. I'm just glad they beat the Chiefs last night. I just didn't want them. They didn't. I don't think they showed Taylor Swift last night at all.
Yeah, you know what?
If I can remember, I don't think they showed her at all. Which, thank God. like, it's just annoying. So. And Travis Kelce, like he's a turd. He's lost it, by the way. He's not. I mean, he had 50-something yards last night, but something off. He's had some drops in the last couple weeks, and
maybe I don't know. I just think that look, if you gave Mahomes that receiving crew that you guys have right now, that'd be like night and day difference.
Yeah, their wide receivers are not good.
It is so bad. I mean. Rashee Rice looks like he's got a little bit of promise, but even so, it's like these other dudes out there are just useless.
Oh, absolutely. And Valdez-Scantling, like I said, he was a Packer, and it felt like every drive Rodgers was coming off the field yelling at him.
Yeah.
And I told you the story about how I saw him in Indianapolis, and he fumbled a screen pass, and they ended up losing the game because of it in overtime. I'm like, the guy's just never been good, but you know what keeps him in the league? He's just ungodly fast.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
And he's got height. Like he's tall and fast.
If the play is you just bet his under in any single game unless they're playing the Bengals, then you bet is over.
Yeah,
so
that's right. He did
in a few weeks here. Bet the MVS over.
He did have a pretty good. He's had some pretty good games against the Bengals.
And speaking of the Bengals, we got this on the is that
Joe
Mixon into the end zone? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah, so we're recording during Monday Night Football. Look, that's a good transition.
Yeah, let's move on to the
us.
Bengals. Yeah, because
we're both Bengals fans. Obviously, the Packers are your first team, but you know.
Yeah, I root for the Bengals. Yeah. As long as they're not playing the Packers, I root for the Bengals.
And this is just it went from what felt like they were coming, they were the team that was going to storm the AFC, to Joe Burrow having season-ending wrist surgery. And it was one of those ones where you like just knew it as soon as you saw it, and there was no hope. Now it's just like I'm struggling for words because before the Bengals for so long in my entire life, were just like you knew it was going to go bad, or they were going to be bad. Either you had something good that was going to end poorly, or it was just shit from the start.
Yep.
Now in this like weird turn of events, they're becoming like a pretty well-run franchise. With a franchise quarterback.
Doing all the right things.
Doing a lot of the right things. Social media is on fire.
Their stadium actually looks like it's a football stadium for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
Because I don't know if you remember a long time ago, like you'd walk in and there was like no Bengal stuff anywhere.
Yeah.
If you were so dumb and you didn't know where you were and you walked into that stadium, you would have no clue what stadium it was.
Yeah, it was like a cinder block with green seats in it, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so they have given us in Cincinnati this hope, and then just to have it ripped out from under you when the AFC looks like it's a little down even, like
it looks a lot more winnable than it has the last 2 years.
The one thing you couldn't happen or have happen was what happened. And so it's just sad right now.
So I think a couple things. First, obviously things have gone south with the injury, and that's not something you can really control. But I did in the back of my mind think that this was going to be some kind of transition year because while Joe Burrow is still technically he's on his rookie contract and stuff like that, like the NFL, how the NFL works, like especially when you have a contract like that, you can't like wait until that year. You have to like start building your roster for the salary cap a year or even a year and a half before that hits. And I thought in the back of my mind, I'm like, look, you lose Jesse Bates, you lose Von Bell over the last couple of years. Like those are transition pieces to what you need to do to get yourself prepared for what is going to be a pretty massive salary cap hit. And being a Packers fan, I know this. This never happened to the Packers where they had like a transition year for a contract and then, an injury. But it is like you have to transition your team into playing without guys that the last 2 years have got you to a Super Bowl and an AFC Championship game in which they probably should have won. And they're missing did they keep some guys? Yeah, but they're missing key pieces. And I thought in the back of my head, I'm like, this is going to be a transition year. I think this is going to be a lot different than the last couple of years where the struggles are maybe going to be prolonged and, are they going to have a home game? I thought it would have been a pretty good bet that they would have been a wild card team at the beginning of the year. Just because, it's a transition year.
They were not the favorite in the division going into the year. A lot of people were on Baltimore. So I completely get what you're saying. They had a lot of defense got young quick with Bates and Bell leaving. Like you said, it was definitely a transition year. It felt like the kind of last year that they might have this nucleus on the offense,
Yeah.
Unlikely they're going to keep T. I just think someone's going to pay him way too much.
Yeah. Yeah. He would be a wide receiver one and at least 50% of the teams in the NFL.
And who knows with Tyler Boyd, what that's going to look like. Mixon possibly moving on after this year. Just definitely to your point, like you said, transition year. And we'll see, but I just want one season where Joe Burrow has a healthy offseason and we just go into the season fine.
And this might be it. Like with the injury, chances are he's probably not going to have much in the preseason as far as practicing, which sucks a little bit, but it almost guarantees that he's going to go to the first week with absolutely no injuries. So
hopefully he's drafted during COVID, so doesn't get a regular offseason.
Yeah.
Tears the ACL.
Yep.
Doesn't get a regular offseason. Has an appendectomy.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a regular offseason. Strains his calf. Not a regular offseason.
Yeah, he's not had one yet.
We need to get our guy on TB12 or something. We got something.
Yeah, something. God,
this is a tough.
Tom
scene.
Brady was never injured.
The one time he had his knee blown out. It was a low hit.
That was it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: it is. More now than and it's always important, but more now than ever. And I know this as a Packers fan because in some of those down years before they got good again at the end of Rodgers' career, they had horrid drafts, just misses upon misses upon misses, and they had some down years in there. And you're like, why do they have down years? Well, when you have a quarterback, you're paying X amount of money, and he takes up this much of the salary cap. You cannot miss on draft picks,
right?
Period. And that's really where the Bengals this season, I think they've done a really good job of drafting in the past 4 to 5 years. Obviously Burrow, but outside of that, I thought they got a steal in Sam Hubbard. I thought, some of these guys, they absolutely stole T. Higgins in the second round.
The problem is the second round has also been Drew Sample, Jackson Carman.
Yeah. There's been some bad ones, but I think overall, the last 5-6 years, they've been really good at drafting.
My hope is that they're in a position here. They're not going to, who knows, they might sneak a couple wins out, but they're probably going to have a top 15-ish or so pick.
You would think. Yeah.
Just invest in an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, high-end investment.
Yep.
Not, we're going to take a guy from wherever. North Dakota, sorry, Volson, but North Dakota State in the 4th round, and he's going to be our starting guard now. No. Let's make some actual draft capital investments in
and that's a must because
the trenches.
Burrow is he's just not going to have a long career getting sacked like that.
Well, and also,
it's not. It's going to be a very quick career if they cannot fix that quickly.
Part of it too is the way he plays, and he's really good at extending plays and making stuff happen, which is part of the reason he gets sacked a lot. But also, like, I'm to the point, we've had enough players in there now. You can't tell me that the players are all bad. Yeah, like it's a scheme thing too.
Yeah, it definitely could be that too.
You got to find a way to match up your blocking scheme to the way your quarterback plays or something.
Yeah,
like sorry.
But if you ask me, is Burrow worth the $275 million? He's worth every penny and probably even more than that, honestly.
Yeah.
We just talked about it before we came on. I was like, they gave up like a 29-yard pass play in the first offensive play for the Jaguars, and I'm like, that's all because Burrow is out. It's like Burrow didn't leave that guy wide open in the middle of the field. Like, but he just covers up so many of the mistakes. When he's playing like he did against San Francisco, he just covers up all the mistakes, and when that offense is playing like they did against San Francisco, there's not a mistake the defense can make that is not undoable by the offense. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish out the year. And they could, I think if they got to 9 wins, they'd actually have a legit shot at making the playoffs.
Yeah, they're just going to have to win some AFC games, though, but tiebreakers are not in their favor right now.
Other than a couple games, their finishing schedule is not easy.
No.
And I'm going to the Viking game.
Nice.
It's a Saturday 1:00 game, by the way. Just getting buried in the depth chart of NFL games.
That game is sure to have just complete nonsense happen.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be like 6-3. I think I might even go with a no touchdown bet in that one because they both, Vikings have a pretty good defense. Jake Browning, they did score tonight, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm not particularly looking forward to that game, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, I don't know how far into this are we? The show
about where I thought we would be.
Okay. Without talking any golf, so let's get on to some golf.
Yeah, let's get on to enough about football sadness.
Yeah, jeez, but that was cathartic. I needed that. I feel better.
Yeah, it was a therapy.
I feel better now. All right, Hero World Challenge, as we mentioned last week, Tigers event, 20 guys down in the Bahamas. Kind of a little bit of a just exhibition type tournament, but Scotty Scheffler wins. Interesting.
After switching putters.
Yep.
Every time he tees it up, though, you assume he's going to win if he can at least be halfway competent with a putter in his hands.
It feels fitting for him, just like the season he had, to end it in winning this event of all. But,
the most meaningless event.
Right. But look, the main story obviously here was Tiger playing golf again. I watched here and there. I didn't get. Honestly, I probably saw more just like on highlights than I did of the actual tournament. Seemed like he was rusty, right, to be expected.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of like short missed putts, couple mistakes. At one point, he putted the ball off of the green.
I saw that into the bunker. I did watch a decent amount on Thursday. Did you see him try to hit that ball out of the bush?
Yeah, one of us.
Bro, just take it unplayable.
No, never. No.
Like he hit it like a foot. And I was like, and then he had to hit it backwards. I'm like,
that was a true one of us moment. Yeah.
Like, that's how you know it's like, okay, well, like, if that's a major, he's taking an unplayable, right? Like,
probably.
You would hope so. But that is part of the rust, though, Like, if he's out playing with his boys, down in Jupiter, like, he's probably that's probably what he's doing. You know what I mean?
True.
So.
Yeah, so he shoots 75, 70, 71, 72. Stats were all bad outside of driving, shockingly. He was 4 strokes gained off the tee for the week. 8th in driving distance, again, only 20 guys. But, he looked like he had the speed. He could still get it out there fine. Like, didn't seem to be a problem. Now,
I thought his distance was unbelievable. By the way, he is fucking ripped now. He's always been in good shape.
Always and forever.
It is on another level right now.
Well, he can only lift upper body, probably. So, he's just...
Just bicep day every day.
Back and buys, chest and tries every other day. Look, he was dead last in approach and 18th in putting, and that's Tiger Woods will not play successful golf with those things being true.
No.
So, but honestly, it's just good to see him out there. He says he thinks he's going to play a tournament a month, So
yeah, I didn't see anything that would be like concerning. You know what I mean? As far as obviously the Masters, he was limping around, and PGA a couple years, he was limping. Didn't see any of that. I think he looked pretty good. He looked really healthy too. Just general health,
Yeah. Who just scored?
Yeah, Jags just scored again.
Oh, okay.
So
that's what I thought. I can't tell who that. Evan Ingram finally
yeah.
off the ball. So he's been the poster boy of he should have scored more than he has.
Yeah. Oh God.
So of course he gets in the end zone. Bengals,
by the way, not
Bengals
on the
against tight ends.
By the way, not on a pass play, on a run play for the tight end.
Wow,
which is even more impressive.
That hurts for anybody that's got all the receptions props tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Tiger looking forward to see what his schedule might look like. Hopefully, as the walks get a little tougher, he's able to stay healthy.
Yeah, I would guess
recover.
Augusta's a little harder walk than the Bahamas this weekend. But
yeah, I will say it was kind of nice that he showed some flashes. I mean, at one point, I can't remember what round it was, but he was like 4 under through 7 and then kind of lost it. But
yeah, I think that was that Saturday?
Yeah, I think it was Saturday. I'm kind of nice we didn't get we didn't really have a moment where it was like, oh shit, he's, T4 or whatever.
Yeah, we never got one of those.
Which actually I'm kind of glad for.
Save that for the majors.
Yeah, I'm here. I want to keep the expectations low. I don't, the last thing we needed was him going out there and, dropping a 66 in the first round, and then we're like, oh shit.
It would have pulled everybody in for the weekend, though.
Oh yeah, definitely would have.
Viewing wise, but
yeah, I don't know. Anything else from here that he does on the golf course that's
all
impressive
bonus.
is just all bonus for sure. So yeah, I'm just glad to see him back out there. So, look, we haven't done this for a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear standout.
Yeah, and I feel bad.
I feel slightly bad because I actually, outside of Tiger, he was one of the guys I was very excited about watching play this week. Obviously, after a long layoff, surgery, glad he's back healthy. He looks healthy. I mean, didn't look like he had any pain or anything like that. The putting stroke has somehow gotten worse over the break.
That's the thing. So we're talking about Will Zalatoris, for those who don't know. Look, I think both you and I are big Willie Z fans.
Oh, I love Willie Z.
Yeah,
He's
so
the
do
man.
Tough when you're coming back for the first time after a surgery, and then you're also implementing the new broomstick style putting. Not good. That's a lot going on, and I think that all bared out. Round one, Will Zalatoris comes out and birdies the first hole.
Yeah.
Because of course he does.
Oh, that's the kiss of death after a long layoff like that, by the way.
Everybody knows you don't birdie the first hole.
No.
Never. He doesn't make another birdie the rest of the day.
That's how it usually goes, though, for the people.
He bogeys the 5th hole, then takes a double on his 8th and bogeys the 9th, which is a par 5, to shoot 39 on the front. We've been here before. We know it's time to get the back 9-6 back.
Gotta get it. He's in the Bahamas. Half these guys weren't even taking that tournament that seriously.
Yeah.
Bro, just grab something.
Whatever you need.
No one's going to judge you.
Get yourself some Mai Tais, whatever.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Doesn't do it, clearly, because he comes out and doubles the 10th, doubles the 12th, another par 5 bogey on 15, and then sour taste in your mouth, bogeys the 18th for a back 942 to shoot 81 in his first round back.
Yikes.
Look, this is all out of love. No disrespect.
This doesn't make me happy.
No. We're not thrilled to do this, but Willie Z, you needed the back 9-6 pack.
Sorry, bud.
It felt good to bring that back. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. We haven't had one of those in a while. That did not make me happy, though. I don't feel good inside about it.
No. This tournament somehow delivered a bunch of other things.
Yeah, it did.
That was awesome. First off, there was some drama between Matt Fitzpatrick and Colin Morikawa. Did you see this?
I did.
Okay, so first off, actually, let's start with what happened. Apparently, his caddy was using some sort of level to measure the slopes of a green or something in one of the practice rounds.
He was calculating slope, which is legal,
yes.
by the way.
So what was illegal was him putting it as a note in his green or yardage book or whatever.
Bingo.
And so I don't even understand. Did you know? Can you fill in the blanks here? When did Fitzpatrick realize this? He didn't say anything until Saturday or something.
So he realized it on Friday. Said something, I believe, Friday evening.
Okay.
They did not approach Colin Morikawa about it until Saturday, which that's where he was bad because he was like, just to how they went about it was kind of pissed him off. He was like, if I was going to get a two-stroke penalty, I'd rather just known about it as soon as it got reported. But first off, fuck Matt Fitzpatrick.
Oh, man, okay.
And here's why. Come on, dude. Like, it's an automatic paycheck. It's an automatic paycheck. If this is the U.S. Open, wouldn't even be mad about it. Like, look, it's against the rules. This is a bona fide this tournament is a bona fide texting your buddy to go play in a scramble kind of tournament. Like, it is. Just call it what it is. Like, there's money involved. But it's not like, it's not a major. It's not the PGA Tour. There's no FedEx Cups points involved. Really? You know what I mean? Like, really? Like, what are we doing here?
I think I totally disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah. Because here's the thing. A couple things. One, it's golf. Colin Morikawa should know better, and he should call it on himself.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a newer rule for sure, and maybe that's what it was. He could have not. I will tell you this right now. Knowing a lot of really good golfers and hearing some stuff about professional golfers, I will tell you this. I know more people that are 20 handicaps that know the rules better than professional golfers.
Yeah, that's probably true. But still, at the end of the day, then that's on him for not knowing the rule, correct? Like, golf is the ultimate, like, 100%. You call it on yourself sport. So. Yeah,
100%. I get where you're coming from there with that. But my thing is like, again, it is an exhibition.
Yeah.
It's an exhibition. Like, call it what it is. That's what it is. That is exactly what it is.
Still a big purse, though. I mean, I think they increased it to, like, I forget what it was, but it's a lot of money for just 20 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I get that a little bit.
And Fitzpatrick's just protecting the field, man.
He's a turd, though. Take his fucking braces and take a walk.
That was a ricochet shot. He got him
this
off.
This is coming from a guy that had braces at one point.
Look, I respect it. He's an Englishman, wanted to get his teeth fixed, Come on, hate on that.
Well, I don't know.
Also,
I get it, but at the same time, I'm like...
The other thing is, so let's put, instead of Morikawa, let's say it's Patrick Reed.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I haven't turned him in for anything.
If it was Bryson, like, it's because it's Morikawa, maybe we're like kind of like a little more favorable about it, but...
He's a terrible putter. That wasn't going to help him anyway.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Maybe that's more what it is. It's like, he wasn't making that putt anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I just thought it was fun. It was a classic golf beef, like just somebody's being a snitch, somebody else doesn't know the rules, like everybody gets all bent out of shape over like the smallest of things. Yeah. It's
and just, and like most golfers probably don't like confrontation. Like,
yeah.
Again, the right thing to do, Fitzpatrick should have came up and been like, hey, I saw your caddy make a note in the book.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to turn it in or do you want me to turn it in? But it's like typical English fashion, snitches and bitches, goes behind his back and turns him in. Like, because let's be honest, like, he's going to get stroked for it, right? Regardless. So he should have at least given Colin Morikawa the option of going like, hey, your caddy made a note in the book. That's against the rules. That's a 2-shot penalty. And given him the opportunity to go turn himself in. Now, if he gets there on Saturday and Colin didn't turn himself in, 100% turn him in.
Totally, I agree with you there.
It's maybe more about, maybe I don't like it more because of how he went about it and didn't confront Colin rather than he just went behind his back and turned it in.
Yeah.
Which is, it's typical, like, prima donna golfer.
Sure. Yeah, that we can agree on for sure. Next thing, Jordan Spieth's caddy. This was awesome.
Yeah. This, honestly, swear to God, the highlight of the week.
Yeah, I think so too.
Terrible, for the record, this was a terrible bet for his caddy to make, by the way that Jordan Spieth plays golf.
Yeah, so this is round one. And I think, so, okay, yeah, that's what it was. So Dylan Desher tweets out this backstory of what happened with Spieth's round. So his buddy Eric is caddying for him this week instead of
I was going to say, it was
Michael Greller.
Yeah, it wasn't Greller.
On the first hole on Thursday, he promised Spieth that for every birdie that he made, he'd drink one beer while they watched the Cowboys game that night. They're from Texas, obviously. So an eagle was worth 3 beers. Jordan Spieth's round, for anyone who doesn't know.
By the way, not out of the norm for him.
No, this was like the return of the king for me right here. Everything about this. He goes par, eagle, par, birdie, double, par, bogey, birdie. So we're 1 under on the front, but we've made, that's 3, 4, that's 5 beers in the front nine.
The front nine. Oh, boy.
His back nine, he does not make a par. Bogey, birdie, birdie, bogey, birdie, eagle, bogey, birdie. Sorry, he did make 1 par in the last hole. So
by my count, that's 7 beers on the back. Did I get that right?
That is correct. 12 total beers at his caddy. Now, I didn't get any closure on this story. I don't know if it actually happened or not.
I need to know how this ended. The people need to know how this ended.
People do need to know.
And I'm going to guess in a 3-hour football game, 12 beers after caddying and stuff, like you're a little dehydrated. I'm going to guess he was pretty hammered after.
Yeah, they're lucky it was like, 11 a.m., 12 p.m.-ish tea times for this thing, because I'm sure you got to...
I'll tell you, those Caliques down there hit a little differently, too. Ooh. That's the, Bohemian beer or whatever. They're good, but...
Is it Carib?
No. I think there's a couple.
Oh, okay.
When I went down there about 12 years ago, they were called Caliques or something like that.
Okay, I'll take your word.
But they hit a little differently, and especially if you're anytime you drink when you're slightly dehydrated, it doesn't even matter if it's super dehydrated. It's just gonna hit way differently. And I'm sure he was hammered by halftime. It had to be.
Yeah,
because let's do the math on that. 12 beers, 4 quarters. I mean, that's a lot of beer.
3 1/4. Yeah. I mean, not too bad. It's kind of within the same realm. That's a little bit shorter than a round of 18, probably, right?
Yeah, I guess so. 3.5 hours, 4 hours, yeah.
Think about trying to drink 12 beers and playing golf. It's
pretty easy.
We are the back nine 6 beers, so yeah.
I shouldn't have admitted that, but that's pretty easy.
Yeah, that was awesome. I
thought that was cool too. It's just fun, and again, that kind of just leads to the whole thing I said as an exhibition, because those guys go down there to have a lot of fun. They're playing for money, but
yeah, they bring family, friends, all that stuff.
Friends are caddying for them. A lot of the regular caddies are not caddying. So that. But I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then PGA Tour, a rare, awesome social media video.
Yeah, very rare.
So they asked some of the players about coffee, right? You and I, big fans of beer, big fans of coffee. Look, I don't think we're coffee. We're not coffee snobs, but we are coffee drinkers.
Big coffee guy, yeah.
Same way that we are not beer snobs, we are beer drinkers.
Yeah, exactly.
So this video, if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out on PGA Tour social media. But we want to break this down a little bit. Thought it was discussion worthy. Do you want to go straight into the questions here, or do you want me first? Actually, you know what? Here's where we're starting. My heart broke. Both of our kings, neither of them drink coffee.
Unbelievable.
Jordan Spieth, Max Homa, neither of them drinks coffee.
Max seemed like a coffee guy. Jordan, it was hurt, but it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
Max seems like a coffee guy.
I think so too.
Just, he's West Coast. I thought at least he'd throw out a mocha, oat milk bullshit, whatever the hell those people drink out there.
Yeah.
I thought he'd at least throw one of those out there. He didn't throw that. He just said he didn't drink it.
Yeah, that was tough. Look, a lot of guys going, the black coffee route, some guys calling out cold coffee specifically. We'll break it all down. So first off, who had the best coffee take?
Look, I am 100% in this boat. Lucas Glover and Brian Harmon. Absolutely. I'm... For the most part, 98% of the time, I am a straight black coffee drinker.
Oh my God!
That is the only way. That is the only way men should ever drink. Look, I like a little bit of cream and stuff here and there, espresso stuff. But in a pumpkin spice latte, that's as far deep down into the Starbucks menu I go. But 98% of the time, I am straight black, no creamer, no sugar.
That is just a straight up bad take. We are so different on this. I didn't realize this.
As Brian Harmon said in the video, he goes, "I don't have dessert at breakfast."
We'll get to Brian Harmon. Best take for me, I was torn between Scotty, who said he makes his own, adds a couple. He adds a little cinnamon, little honey, things like that.
I can get down with that.
And he does it either iced or hot, depending on his mood. That's like, this is how I drink coffee. That's me.
Because I will say this, cinnamon and honey for me, that's more of they have some health benefits to them, within reason. Like cinnamon, honey's good for allergies.
Yeah,
and
you're
stuff
not
like
dumping
that.
Straight sugar into your...
Yeah, or straight half and half, mint creamer and like whatever the hell people put in the creamers that they have on the market now. Yeah, he's actually putting some like stuff that have like some health benefits to it.
Yeah, so Scotty was one that stood out to me, and then also Willie Z, who claimed he was a cold coffee guy, and he was into the shaken espresso, which big fan of shaken espressos.
The shaken espresso is again when I have cream on in anything. That's the route I go. The shaken espresso from Starbucks is pretty good.
Yeah. So now here's where we're gonna fight. Probably. I had worst take as Brian Harmon. Number one, him, Cam Young, and Lucas Glover, all three called out drinking black coffee. Cam Young mentioned especially Americanos. So
big fan of Americanos. Yeah.
But Harmon, dude, it's just the little man syndrome.
No,
he thinks he's. Oh my god!
No,
dude.
It's not that. It's not that. I will tell you that.
He's
it's
like,
I'll
drink it black. I'm not drinking dessert for breakfast. He's just trying to be a hard guy.
No, he's not. And I will tell you why. Because he's a Southerner. He's a hunter. He's a gatherer. Like he's a man's man, and that's how men drink their coffee. I'm just being honest. When I was growing up, my dad barely put like a sprinkle of milk in his coffee. And I asked him why one time, and he told me, I don't put sugar in this. Like, that's girl stuff. That's absolute girl stuff.
This is
absolute girl stuff.
You should be a fan of girl stuff.
I've got to have some testosterone going through my body. That's why I drink black coffee.
This is where you draw the line.
This is where I draw the line.
No,
don't mess with my coffee.
Look. Oh, that's just so bad. It's all the only people that should be drinking black coffee is if you have some sort of allergy to like milk and other things or whatever, or if you're like being super, super health conscious and like trying to lose weight or something.
To me, the equivalent of this is using A1 to eat steak. You just don't do it.
Yeah,
a good steak
tastes good though.
A good steak does not need A1 sauce. Just like a good coffee does not need cream and sugar and pumps of, bullshit in there. It just doesn't need it. A good coffee does not need any of that stuff.
I will say, I don't drink black coffee anymore. I used to when I first started drinking coffee because I was being a health sicko for no reason. But like a good espresso straight up is excellent.
Oh, yeah.
But like if you're just doing drip coffee, it needs at least it needs like something. Just something.
That's
milk added to it for like just a little creaminess or something. It's just...
I will tell you this. I do get a little bit of cream in my Americanos, like my hot. So there's always that transition point between iced coffee and hot.
Exactly. Yep.
My iced coffee, I get an extra shot of espresso with a little dash of. You gotta tell Dunkin' Donuts like a dash of cream. Like for me, a dash of creamer, because if you tell them creamer, it's like half milk. Half coffee.
No, it's like 5/6, or look, sorry, that would be 2/3 milk. And
I'm not here to bash my people over at Dunkin' Donuts. I'm a VIP at the Dunkin' Donuts on Cincinnati Dayton Road.
Yep.
But you got to tell them a dash, and I get a dash in my Americanos just because there's some water in it, and like I just want it to have like a little bit of texture to it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
See, I think a good coffee has some texture to it. Like a good black coffee is like, it's not like a sludge, but it's like a good like.
I'm with you.
I'm actually drinking something that's not water. You know what I mean? Or tea.
Yeah.
God forbid, dirty water tea.
All right. Hold on.
Yeah, let's get it back on the tracks here.
Who was your worst take then?
My worst take was Jordan Spieth. Like the no coffee thing. That's just insane. It's too health try hard guy. You know what I mean? Like he thinks it's like, oh, I don't want to put caffeine in my body. Bro, America was built on caffeine, okay? Get out of here.
Honorable mention for worst steak for me. I'm not down with just like the coffee with just cream and sugar. You know what I mean? Like I don't add sugar to my coffee is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Like I don't take...
Yeah, I've never got the whole sugar and coffee thing. Other than, I will say this, I did explore some Cuban coffee a couple years ago. Cuban Coffee Queen down in Key West is unbelievable. But Cuban coffee has cane sugar in it.
Okay.
Just how they make it, and it's unbelievable. That's the only time I think I've ever had sugar in a coffee. But yeah, the sugar in the coffee thing doesn't.
I just envision when someone says they put cream and sugar
me.
in their coffee, I envision like someone going up and grabbing like the coffee mate and dumping it in,
just
and then
pouring it in.
and then taking like like that generic ass like coffee sugar, like you see it like at like hotels and conference.
Oh yeah,
it's like that they're dumping it in. I'm like, get out of here with that.
No, I don't. I mean, that's not a good take either. Yeah.
No. All right, least surprising take.
I think Lucas Glover and Brian Harmon are the least surprising.
Yeah, Lucas Glover especially.
By the way, we focused on Brian Harmon. Lucas Glover being the age he is the least surprising that he is just a straight black coffee guy.
There's a difference between the two, I'm telling you. I think, like, Lucas Glover's just being genuine. That's just authentic. He's like, yeah, I just drink black coffee. Brian Harmon, he's doing it to, like, prove a point. That's the difference.
We'll agree to disagree on that. But I'll tell you, me and Lucas Glover, we're a dying breed. We are. We're a dying breed. The people that just drink black coffee, absolute dying breed in America.
Yeah, probably. I mean, actually, you know what? Maybe it is a dying breed. You might be right.
It 100% is. I think most people that drink their coffee black are probably over the age of 50.
Yeah, for sure.
Most part.
My least surprising take was Jason Day, one, not drinking coffee, but two, saying that he drinks the medicine ball tea from Starbucks.
Yeah. Okay,
of course, Jason Day drinks that.
I teetered on the Lucas Glover and him because that was like pretty. The fact that I was like, there's no way he's a coffee drinker being from where he is. There's just no chance. Like Australia, I mean, I'm sure they have coffee there, but just no chance that he was going to be a coffee drinker.
No, I just knew the second he said, I don't drink coffee, I was like, oh, this guy drinks
some kind of.
And of course, it's the like medicine ball tea from Starbucks because he's always injured. So,
by the way, I'm a little disappointed that no one brought up the tea from Panera. Have you seen that recently?
No.
It's got more caffeine than like 3 Monsters.
Whoa.
Yeah, they put a warning sign up. Like they're like, don't drink more than one.
Why
of
would you
these.
even bother serving that then?
I kind of want one now. By the way, so I'm not a tea
like
guy
asking
either.
for heart palpitations.
Yeah, exactly.
You may as well be like, what's his face? The God, it's such a bad Micah Parsons, and just like eat the protein or the pre-workout dry, no water.
Oh my God. That's psychopath.
He said he did it once before a game recently and like thought he was going to die, so he's never going to do it again. Which, yeah, you probably
there's a reason they tell you to mix it in with some water.
Yeah, good God. All right, I think this is a slam dunk. Most pretentious take.
Justin Rose, without a doubt.
Yeah,
like what did he say? I don't remember his exact words, but it was like. He pretty much came off as a coffee snob. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, oh, it's got to be a flat white. And he's like, which they don't really know that much about in the States, except for Starbucks. And then he's like, but yeah, I'm particular about my coffee. I really have to have good coffee. I'm like, yeah, of course you do.
Yeah,
Justin
of course.
Rose. Of course
yeah,
you do.
he's like an older guy. He's full-blown European English. Like
he might be the bloke, the chap.
Yeah, he is.
He's quintessential British man.
Yeah. I think you could give him the best coffee, not flat white or I don't even know what the hell that is. And he'd be like, this is shit. Like, just out of principle. Just like, this is terrible.
Yeah, exactly. I
thought that was a slam dunk. As soon as he said, like, I like a flat white, and I'm like, I like coffee, and I don't even know what that is. So
I don't want to risk trying to describe it. I know that it exists, and I think I loosely know what it is, but look, I'm just going to apologize already and say that I'm wrong about what it is. So
I'll have to look it up after we get out of here.
I think it's like a latte, but it's not a latte.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's got like a certain ratio of, coffee or espresso to milk or whatever kind of thing. Basically, you know what? I think it's espresso and milk. It's not steamed milk. I'm taking a shot in the dark and saying that's what a flat white is.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I might be right.
I think you might. That sounds right. I mean,
sounds right. Sneaky good take. I have mine. Ricky.
Yeah, that's who I had too.
Espresso over ice.
Yep.
Or he said he likes to dabble in the oat milk lattes, which I'm a big fan. So speaking of Dunkin', I'll go there and just get an oat milk latte. I had no flavor or anything added to it, just because I like the way that the oat milk tastes with their espresso.
So I haven't had it yet, and I will say this: I'm closer to trying it. We had our Christmas party on Friday. We stay in the same hotel every year, Hilton. in Fort Wayne. It's got a Starbucks below. Usually in the morning, Saturday, we're trying to get back. So we usually just stop in the Starbucks there. I went up with 2 girls from my office. Obviously, girls, they both got the same thing. They got ice shaken espresso with oat milk in it. And I'm like, what the fuck is oat milk? I swear to God, I hadn't heard about it until 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, I keep hearing this oat milk thing. And I need to try it. They're like, oh, you try it. You're going to love it. So I'm going to try it eventually. I'm going to give it a try. What does it taste like?
It's hard to describe, but it definitely adds a flavor to the coffee, I think. But to me, maybe I'm way wrong on this, but it's I think it's a little creamier than almond milk is.
Okay, because I was
me.
I've had almond milk. I think almond milk's pretty good.
Yeah. So I think it adds, you were talking about the texture, I think it adds a little more texture to coffee than almond milk does.
Yeah, I thought Ricky's, though, with the espresso, you can't go wrong with espresso.
Yeah. And I mentioned it with Scotty, I'm a big fan I'm very seasonal with my coffee drinking usually.
Very, yeah.
So I appreciate anybody that is down to mix up both ice and hot.
Yeah, that's the only way to go. I mean, when it's 95 degrees out, when we're going to play on a Saturday, the last thing I want to do is stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a hot coffee before I'm about to be out in 90 degrees weather. This just doesn't make any sense. I used to be psychotic. And then I've grown up a little bit and mixed it in ice in the summer. Usually about October, middle October, I switch over to hot. Whenever that weather just starts to get to 50 is when I kind of switch it over.
I'm with you.
But that was, I thought that video was awesome. PGA Tour doesn't do stuff like that usually.
Yeah, they're trying to catch up to all the stuff the European Tour had done for years. I mean, their social media has been really good for a long time.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, but I thought that video was a really good idea, especially because it's a low key event. Guys can have fun with it. So
yeah, I will also still say that in general, golfers are still boring. I know a lot of complaints about the tour is people that either people can't relate to the players or they feel like they don't know them well enough. And I'm I kind of think we do know them well enough. They're just kind of regular, boring dudes for the most part.
Well, and I think golf's one of those sports that, to be the best, the best of the best, you just kind of have to have that mentality that Tiger Woods has.
Yeah.
That Scotty Scheffler has, that Jordan Spieth has. These guys have fun, but for the most part, it's business every day of the week. And they're just kind of boring people. I mean, it is what it is. You have your one-offs, your dailies, and you have some wild guys out there, but for the most part, I think we do know them. I just think they're so ultra focused that it's kind of, easy to be boring.
Right. All right. Couple of last, just kind of wrapping up some of the other golf talk. Lots of stuff going around. Obviously, the PGA Tour and the Saudi PIF, they had their framework agreement thing back in June or whatever. Supposedly had a deadline for December to move forward. We're in December now. There's no news. So now you got lots of rumors swirling about other players going, specifically John Rahm, possibly heading to LIV. He's been very, very quiet about it, which is odd because in the past he's been very quick to say hey, nope, not for me. So who knows? And then he had the thing where he pulled out of the TGL. That's something to watch. Lots of players still complaining, mainly rank and flyer, non-signature events level players.
Yeah.
There was some guys trying to start a petition to get the points reduced in the signature events because they feel like it's too many FedEx Cup points versus the regular full field events.
Fair point.
Just all kinds of stuff that's it makes you why do I care about professional golf?
By the way, for the record, this event this weekend had world golf ranking points.
Yeah.
Which is fucking insane. For
Correct.
The argument that people use for LIV, absolutely insane. One of their arguments is there's not a lot of people that play in the LIV events. You get 20 people. It's just crazy. That's a sham. But yeah, this whole thing, I mean, they're going to drop it on Christmas Day. Hopefully people glaze over it. Nothing happened. They're going to drop it when
it'll
everybody's
happen
not
that
paying
week.
attention.
It'll be that week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, when no one's paying attention, everybody's busy doing shit. They're going to drop it then.
Right.
I could 100% see that.
I will say it was pretty interesting to watch. I did see some of the clips of like Tiger's various like press opportunities throughout the weekend and stuff. And just like hearing, you can like really tell that he's invested in this like board seat that he's got now.
Which is good.
Look, I'm telling you, I think I said it sometime during the summer. I was like, look, Tiger Woods commissioner. I think he's going to be player commissioner.
It sounds like Monahan's on his way out. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what the process is behind that. I have no idea. I'm not smart enough to even understand that. But it sounds like whenever this is done, he is gone. I mean, the players are done with him, and they should be. They should be.
He at different points has had the support of different people, but like now everybody's just pissed at him. Like you got Rory stepping off the board. Like that was like his biggest probably, ace in the back pocket of somebody that was behind him. And once this all went down back in June, I feel like it was just a matter of time.
I'll tell you this about the deal. I think it's at a point where the PGA Tour is going to have to figure out how to make this a deal. Because at this point, what guys are going to do is going to do what Rahm does. Like, dude, you took the money. Now I'm going to take the money. Like, I'm not making this mistake again for a second time. You took it. You agreed to take it. And guess what? I'm going to take it now. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of guys that do that. Whether they like where the money comes from or not, they've now been triggered to the point where they know that the PGA Tour was willing to take that money that they said was so tainted that it can't believe people are actually taking it. Guys are just going to be like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'll take it. Yeah. They're not going to get a second chance at this.
I mean, I remember when we talked about it back then, like, we were immediately like, yeah, the tour, like, has to get this done now because if not, they have zero leverage.
Dead in the water.
Yeah.
Absolutely dead in the water.
So who knows? It feels like you said, we'll get some news here probably into December, and I can't even fathom what it's going to look like at this point. So
yeah. Yep.
Other big news is I don't think has been formally announced, but has kind of been floated out
Wednesday.
there. Yeah, sounds like Wednesday's going to come, like you said. Golf ball rules, they're moving away from the bifurcation thing that they suggested, and it sounds like there's going to be a complete rollback on golf balls from all levels of golf.
Which I'm actually in that boat.
So you think overall rollback better
I do,
than
and here's why. And I think we kind of mentioned it. I don't remember what episode it was when we talked about it. But what ends up happening is if you don't have the same ball for everybody, the ball manufacturers start passing on the cost for the creating of the rollback balls for the tour, and what the research that goes into that. All that cost is going to be passed on to the consumers. They're not passing it on to the players they're giving balls to. So all that cost is. So I think if it's one ball across the board, ultimately I think the prices will be better. They're not going to pass costs down and stuff like that to have two separate balls on the market or whatever. But I think it's funny, and you mentioned Rory's tweeting here. Of course, the guy that hits the ball 325 yards has no problem with rolling back the ball, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Like, let's talk about, the guys that don't hit that far. Like, I'm sure they've got issues with that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think the thing is,
let's call it what it is. It's gonna create a even more competitive advantage for guys that hit the ball further.
Which I would tend to think that that's a good thing, because for me, driving it longer, just like anything else in golf, is a skill. And I think distance of all of the golf skills has been most impacted by technology. And so I think you've seen...
I agree with that, yeah.
Sort of this like lower level tour player or whatever. You don't really have bombers anymore. You basically just have you have the super elites, right? That hit it far. And then you just have everybody else that is also long. Yeah. You don't really, there's a couple guys that are short or whatever. You might still have a Kisner or Harmon, like those guys. But for the most part, everybody's hitting it 300, 310, whatever. And then you've got a couple guys that can really send it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I think it's kind of dumbed down the game in a way that rolling back would show off driving more of a skill and would make guys make more decisions and play different shots than just hitting it as far as they can.
Yeah. Well, And someone brought up a good thing, and I think we talked about doing persimmons or bringing back whatever. But someone was like, limit the clubs and professionals bags.
Yeah, make them hit more off speed or try to send it.
10, keep 10 clubs. It's like, all right, instead of having a club for every situation, now you decide not to carry a 6-iron. Now you're either choking down on a 5 or trying to muscle a 7. I think that would be, to me, would bring some shot making skills back into the game. But I did see something before, like probably an hour before we came over here. Oh God, I can't remember his name. He does teaching on the Golf Channel. Michael
Breed?
Yeah. He tweeted out the 1995 professional golf ball, Titleist professional golf ball, would actually still not meet the standards for what the rollback's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's only like a 4 or 5% rollback. It's not crazy. And it's
I think the clubs have gotten. That's where I'm saying, like, the clubs have garnered more length than the actual balls have. I do think that in the grand scheme of things, is the ball the easiest fix? Probably. Because it's going to be hard to go to these club manufacturers. Hey, by the way, we know you spent billions of dollars on developing these clubs. Yeah, you can't make clubs like this anymore.
Right.
It's probably a cheaper option to do the balls, for sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what is going to be interesting, I think something that's getting overlooked is because of how the balls are going to be built going shorter, they're definitely going to be more spinny. So it's going to be interesting. And, anytime you get spin on the ball, driving accuracy is going to go down too.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see what driving accuracy does when they finally do the rollback.
Yeah. And, I mean, honestly, like, as amateurs and, for me, like a mid-handicapper, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal for me. A lot of the peak rollback is going to affect people that swing it like 125 miles an hour and harder.
Yep.
The difference for me at my swing speed is going to be negligible.
Well, it's like taxes, right? 5% of less is a lot, less is a lot less than 5% of something a lot more, right? So, so 5% of someone hits the ball 340.
Yes.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a bigger rollback than someone that hits it 240 or 250 or whatever.
So if a lot of the complaints you heard about when they were trying to go bifurcation was like that the good thing about golf is that, the highest level players and the lowest level players play the same equipment. And that's what a lot of people wanted to save. So it feels like this is the only option because I do think for the long-term sustainability of the game, it makes sense to try to contain distance a little bit.
It does. I mean, think about our course, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple areas they could probably move a couple tees back, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, what is it going to max out at? Like 600 yards?
Yeah. And
so if someone's hitting the ball 320, it's still going to be a short course.
And honestly, what I mean? I don't want, me personally as a member, I don't want our club spending money to build these extra tees to make it longer.
No.
Put the money into making the greens better, or like building up other facilities that we need or something else.
Yep.
Not adding a tee that's going to add 30
because everybody's hitting the ball
yards.
310 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's,
and I think that's where a lot of courses are, right? Like they're like, well, we really need new golf carts, but we might have to add extra tees because people are complaining because they're hitting all wedges in the greens. You know what I mean?
Get the staff the equipment they need to maintain the course. Like, do spend the money there.
Junior program, like the money can go in so many different directions. So I do agree with that. And then just again, our area, right? Golf courses, we have no land to build on, right? Like we live in an area where it's boomed, it's still booming, and the golf courses around here, they don't have an extra 30 yards to add a tee box. They just don't. You know, you think of some of the best courses around, Four Bridges, Heritage, there's houses. If you go 20 yards back from a tee box, there's houses there. So I do think sustainability is a big thing, specifically to land use and money, really, resources. So.
And I mean, obviously, the bigger the course gets, the more fertilizer, chemicals, water, all that stuff,
everything, wear on equipment, like it just goes on and on. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, hey man, that felt good to talk about like some golf. We haven't talked just like golf at that level in a while.
It was funny. I remember at the end of the season, we're like, all right, like we kind of felt good to like, okay, I think we can kind of move on to other things. not professional golf, but it felt good.
Well, it was nice to have some content that didn't need to be created by us, I guess is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
All right, well, with that, content created by us, I think it's time. We're heading to the patio.
Welcome to the Patio Beers segment. Yeah, sponsored by Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. You know, we're trying to keep those dad bods in check. A lot of sweets going down the gullet this time of year. Christmas is a bad time to have a dad bod. It just gets worse and worse.
Look, we just got I'm not even kidding you, like a 12-inch by 6-inch box of peanut butter fudge from my wife's relatives in Indiana.
Oh, God.
Tough scene.
That's a tough scene. But you know how you can offset some of those calories? By drinking the best tasting light beer with how many calories?
96 per 12 ounce.
And only built with the Pacific, the hops from the Pacific Northwest. And, you've noted what was it? The
Noble Saz hops from
only
the
the
Pacific
best.
Northwest.
Only the best for Miller Lite. Again, is a beer for every season, specifically when you're trying to watch the dad bod. A lot of sweets and stuff going down the gullet again. But this is a way to offset some of those calories. Appreciate Miller Lite again. I'm going to let you kick it off because I think I went first last week.
All right. Look, we're entering Christmas season here, right? Holiday season. Gift giving back in a big way. And we should also mention, I think we've got 2 more shows after this one before we take a little holiday break. So had to start getting in on the Christmas topics now. Look, you're a golfer. You've got a lot of non-golfers in your life.
A lot. What
is the best advice you can give to non-golfers who are buying a gift for a golfer?
Stay off of Amazon. For the love of God, please stay off of Amazon.
I think that's right.
It's the only right answer, I think. Oh man, you've seen some of the gifts I got, and I'm not going to call out who gave them to me, but you've seen some of the gifts I got.
Yeah,
and they're hideous. And I will tell you what, 100% of them were bought on Amazon by putting golf into the search tab.
Yep,
I've done it. I've seen 4 of the gifts, 4 of the 10 things that popped up first. I've got for Christmas.
Just Amazon's choice for golf. Yeah.
Just completely useless titties and toilet golf, and it's just it's just
toilet golf.
Brutal. And I'll tell you, I had one Christmas really brutal, but I've gotten them sprinkled in here and there, but I've had a couple really good Christmases because the person that gave me these gifts, their best friend ended up started dating a golf professional. And he was like, yeah, he's going to want these. And the guy just completely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So made up for a little bit, but God forbid, please stay off of Amazon when you're buying Christmas gifts for people that golf, especially if you're a non-golfer. Holy crap.
That's a good one. I think for me, the simplest thing you can do, there's 2 things. One, obviously the most simple, is just buy a gift certificate to their club, to Golf Galaxy, to Dick's, whatever. Let them decide. Or if you really want to buy them something, just find out what their preferred golf ball is and just buy them golf balls.
Exactly, yeah.
Never
go wrong.
Exactly. You will always need golf balls as a golfer. Hopefully they're, at an affordable price point. But honestly, the most you're going to pay is like 50-ish bucks.
Yeah.
That's, within a normal gift-giving amount. So
yeah.
Feels like golf ball is the safest.
But if they tell you like, hey, I'm into this, and this, don't deviate from the trail.
Yeah.
Like if they tell you what they're interested in, buy them what they're interested in. Like I like FootJoy shoes, and I like Titleist, clubs, and I use Titleist golf clubs. Like they're telling you this for a reason. Do not deviate. Don't think, oh, look at this glove. It's purple. I bet he would love this purple glove. Nope. I said I like Titleist gloves, not some off-brand, and it's colorful. I'm not going to wear it. Don't deviate.
100%.
Yeah, shout out to the guys at No Laying Up. Every year for Christmas, they have the unwanted golf gifts thread.
It's my favorite Twitter thread every single year.
I sit there all Christmas and read them. And I had one a couple years ago. Got on there, had over like 1,000 likes on it because And I think it was the titties.
It was the
It was the titties, yeah.
Which is an all-time.
By the way, if you're wondering what titties are, they're not the female appendages. They are female, but they're golf tees that have a naked woman on them.
Yeah.
So
you can imagine.
Yeah. Use your imagination.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll post a picture of them. I still have them. I have to have them.
Yeah, we might have to. Just
I feel like it would really
right?
maybe deter.
Sorry, I just distracted Justin. Is this a Jamar Chase touchdown?
That is.
Yeah, that's a gritty. Okay.
I think they would really deter some like club head speed because they're like thick plastic.
Yeah, it can't be good. There's no way it's good.
There's no way. No way. But that was that's always a good question.
Yeah. Had to get out in front of that one for the holiday season. So
I'm going to start my Christmas ones next week. I almost asked one this week. I've got two I want to ask, so we'll save them for the next 2 weeks.
So if you're listening to this, you're probably a golfer. Share this segment with your non-golfing loved ones so they know.
Please.
And if you're a non-golfer, please, for the love of God, listen to us.
And I will tell you this right now: we're going to put some of this segment on Instagram. Share that bitch. Just
send it.
Send it out to anybody that is going to be buying you a gift this Christmas.
Yeah, it's a PSA for all golfers out there. We're trying to we're going to make golf gift buying better for all.
Yes. And less returns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. So I told you I thought this would spur a lot of conversation. And we're going to do this for all of our friends. Okay? At least the guests we've had, and we're going to throw Ryan in.
Okay.
Who's never been on the show, which I'm nervous to even have him on the show. But anyway, if you were given a profession based on your looks, what would it be? So it stems from, they did the NFL coaches, like what they look like they would do if they weren't an NFL coach.
Oh, my God.
And, it was like Mike Tomlin I can't remember what Mike Tomlin was, but it was like Pete Carroll was like the yacht salesman or something like that.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. So if you had to give me, we'll start with me first, a profession based on how I look, what would it be?
Oh, man, that's tough. God, this is just like, you should go first. So you've clearly thought about these.
So I
Hold on, I can jump in because you've brought this up before. You should be a First is Big Boy mascot.
That would be one of my professions. The guy out there, no costume on, the outfit, but no costume, spinning the sign, trying to get people to come in the Frisches. That would be one of them.
Yeah.
For you, I said a stay-at-home dad that lives in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Ooh, honestly, can I sign up for that?
I mean. I think
that'd be a good gig if you can get it.
And you're very involved in the PTA at the school.
Yeah, that I don't like, but okay, I can.
I mean, you're talking about oat milk, and all this stuff. I mean, it fits right in. I said that or an accountant.
Yeah, I think there's a version, the multiverse. I'm an accountant or an engineer.
The vision
somewhere.
of you just putting on some slimmer reading glasses, and really breaking down the numbers for somebody,
just spreadsheeting the shit out of it. Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure.
So Nick, he would, and this is probably because, I mean, I think if he wasn't teaching, this might actually be his profession. But he looks like a salesman for a beer company that comes in and just starts handing out, you need some coasters? He's like, hey, I got your kegs of Miller Lite coming in tomorrow. Hey, let me give you some free taps. Just walking in. And then he proceeds to drink 3 or 4 beers at the bar that he's visiting to sell beer to.
Yeah, I could see that too. Oh, man. I'm trying to think of what else is good for Nick. I mean, some sort of just I could totally just see him being a mid-manager, corporate. I don't know what kind of job it is, but you know what I mean? He's just sitting at his desk and just making sure that nothing goes down in flames. Just keeping that ship humming as steady as possible and just not dealing.
Too high, not too low.
Yeah, and just dealing with as few, the littlest amount of shit that he can possibly deal with. Just the right amount.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good too.
Yeah.
So Gumph, 100% a boat salesman. He's down in Siesta Key. You know, he's pawning off used boats on people that are broken. Like just he's slinging boats left and right down in Siesta Key, and then proceeds to get off work at like 5:15 and goes to the local beach bar where he closes it down and goes back the next day and does it again.
Man, there's a lot of ways to go with Gunth. Only like he's one of the few of us that's actually had two different careers at this point.
Yeah.
So he's slinging merch, formerly taught. You literally could just drop him into any job where he like has to talk to people and like is about relationship building, and he's gonna succeed.
100%.
So
yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of like a funny version of that, but it's like,
I mean, but we have not seen Beach Gunth, but Beach Gunth would be electric out there selling boats.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that one's just tough, honestly. You know what? I think he could be, it's along the boat line. He would be like I don't know if it's a tour guide necessarily, but like whoever's like setting up and doing like the fishing excursions or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know necessarily if he's like the captain.
Yeah.
Or if he's just like.
No. He's not the captain. He's the guy down on the trenches, like helping people reel in marlins and stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like I could.
And he's just hyping everybody's head no matter what size of fish they haul in. Like, yeah, that's what Gunth's doing.
All right. So Ryan was the hard one because for the most part he fits his profession. Yeah, he looks like an engineer. He really does. He does.
Yeah, but
know what? I started thinking about it more. He looks like a cell phone salesman.
So you think he works at like Verizon?
Right, he's out there. Hey,
no, he's more of a T-Mobile guy.
Yeah, he's a hey. If we can get this in your pocket today, get a free iPad, 50% off on an Apple Watch, and you know what? For good measure, I'm going to throw in the Apple AirPods for you. I could 100% him doing that, but in like a more monotone voice. Management doesn't want me to do this, but I'm going to throw in the iPad. If I can get the signature right here.
Management doesn't want me to do this. Oh.
Or 100% insurance. Like, I could see him slinging some insurance, too.
See, that's the thing with Ryan.
Because it's not like a sales job. Insurance is not a sales job. It's literally just sitting there like, oh, you want to insure your house? Okay. But this house is a piece of shit.
No, I think Ryan needs like a framework to work within.
Yeah.
I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why I think like the insurance or like whatever, something in that line where it's like he's got a system that's built for him already. He's kind of just plugging shit in. Everybody needs it. You know
like
what I mean?
An insurance adjuster.
Yeah.
Yeah, like comes out and he's just like, yeah, I know your numbers say $12,000 and your contractor's saying $12,000. Best we can do is $6,000. Like, you know, based on what my computer says, the best I can write a check for today is $6,000. Like,
yeah. And
he's delivering bad news. He likes to do that. He's like everybody's favorite enemy, including mine.
Yeah.
An insurance adjuster would be a really good one.
I think so too.
Or serving people. Like the people that serve people to go to court.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I think
Mitch?
he'd be a little too meek for that, though, don't you?
No, but he's doing so.
I guess it's based on what he looks like.
He would just be so low tone and like so calm and collected that it'd just be like, "Are you Mitch Wilcox?" Yeah, that's me. You've been served, and he's so small that the people they're not going to want to fight him. They're like, I don't want to beat the shit out of this guy. Yeah, like he's so anti-aggressive that they're gonna fight him for getting served.
Yeah, and I think he would be unsuspecting. So, like if he's walking up to you, like you wouldn't like be like, oh, what's this guy doing walking up? You know what I mean? Like if he wouldn't catch you off guard or anything. Man, this is a great question that I know I'm gonna have a lot of answers for after.
I had another good one for Gunth, and I'm gonna throw this one out there. He's the guy that your wife works with, that your wife calls her work husband.
Oh,
tell me that's not the perfect one.
Yeah,
he is 100%. He's 100% that guy
for sure. Yeah, because he's
not in a bad way. It's just like he's just, you know,
yeah. He's Ferda. He's super friendly. He has a good time. Yeah,
adapts to everybody. You know, she'd be talking shit about you, like per se, like Danielle worked with Gunt. She'd go to work and be like, fucking Justin didn't do the dishes again last night. He's going to be sitting there like sipping his coffee like, yeah, I know where you're coming from. Like, just agreeing with everything. Because that's how he's not going to make you feel bad about feeling angry that your husband didn't do the dishes.
You know what? Gunt's the easiest person to do this with.
Yeah, he's
I think, you know what he looks like? He's the guy that is going to inherit his father's funeral home company. So he's like the one that's working there and like, prepping the hearse, and he's like greeting the family, and he's just super like.
That's so good.
That's what he is. He doesn't own it yet, but he's the guy that's going to inherit it from his dad. So he's like there doing all the shit and, mingling with the families and all that stuff. But he's not in charge.
Oh, God, that's so good. I want to do one other person that like.
I'm trying to think of a really good one for like a legitimate one for you. I just said the big boy thing because the Halloween costume. But man, it's tough. It's just tough on the spot.
I have been told that I would be a great used car salesman.
Yeah, you in any sales role, just because you can talk to anybody, is probably going to work. But what do I think when I see you? What is your job? I mean, you know what? Honestly, this is it's still along the fast food line. I feel like you're like a GM for like an area of like Taco Bells. You know what I mean? Like, you're like a regional manager for Taco Bell.
Getting high on the supply.
Well, and you're just coming in. You're like checking, like make sure the signage is right. How the
got my Taco Bell polo on.
Yeah, like how's the shipping and stuff coming in? Like you're trying to operationalize the business. They send you in to clean shit up.
All the dirty work.
Yeah, you're like
it's really not dirty work. It's just I could that's fucking hilarious. Oh my God. Oh, that's so good. And just so you know, just so where this came from, if you've never seen it, someone put out a meme or just like pictures of every NFL coach.
Yeah, you just
and like what
that.
They would. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like Sean McVay. I remember him now. Sean McVay. They said that he was your wife's cycling instructor.
Yeah, yeah. They were so good.
They were so good. Like so well thought out. It was like, I remember what Mike Tomlin was. It was like he runs his own private security firm.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Like they're fantastic. If you're not seen it, go look at it and do it for people in your life and see what you would think they would be other than what they might. And they might fit in exactly. Like Ryan was kind of hard because he fits the mold of an engineer and that's what he is, But I like the Nick one. Middle manager, maybe at a bank.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
He's a middle manager of a bank in like a customer service line, like the customer service call center.
Yeah.
He's just sitting back, doing not much, but just making sure like people don't kill each other and people don't quit.
Yes.
And barely meeting quotas.
And like he every once in a while gets like a customer thing gets like filtered up to him. And basically he's just like the no guy, right?
Yeah, it's not my call, but no.
Yeah, he's like the final line to be like, no, this can't happen. Yeah.
He's the bad guy, yeah.
For sure.
That's perfect. Perfect. Those are good. I like that.
What a good question.
If I think of any more, we're going to have to come back to this next week, just briefly.
Yeah. Man, all right. Well, on that note, I think we got some second half football to watch here. Do the Bengals have a lead?
They are up 7 by 7, 21-14. Wow. I took them money line and plus 10 tonight.
Prayers up for you.
Plus 326 was too much to pass on.
Yeah.
And Jags are like one of those teams that just they play really good against good teams, and then like teams that they should beat, they kind of play down to.
They definitely have. They're one of those teams that plays their competition for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, again, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Helps us continue to grow it. We've got a couple more episodes here for the year, and then we're going to do You've Been Hard in the Lab, cutting the tip-top best of Patio Beers segments, and we're going to throw those together in a couple different episodes to get you guys through the holidays and let us take a little break to be with family. Should be nice last few weeks of the 2023 here. So until next time, cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.